All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would just like to take this time to introduce myself and thank Southfield Public Schools for this opportunity to share some great information about WebEx. My name is Zarek Lake. I am the principal of MacArthur K-8 University Academy, and I've been using WebEx for the past 3 years, and I just found it to be a great product. And just a great way to collaborate, for us to see each other virtually and have various video just video conferencing information. And so today there are going to be a couple of things that I will share with you. The first thing that I'll share with you is how to create and access WebEx. The second part is I will actually show you how to schedule a meeting or a virtual class. And for the administrators that I'll be talking with today, we're going to be looking at how to schedule meetings for various purposes virtually. And then finally, the third part, we will look at important features of WebEx. We'll look at security, main features in the actual collaboration tool, and then we're going to look at breakout sessions. Well, I'm so excited, and hopefully you are excited as well. And as you can see my screen, the first thing we're going to look at is how to log on to WebEx. Now, I would want everyone to go on their computers right now. You could type in webex.com and hit enter. And you should come to this screen right here. Once you're here at this screen, you can sign in with your Southfield Public Schools credentials. So we're going to sign in with our Southfield Public Schools email. You're going to click next. And if you haven't done this for the first time, they're going to ask you to actually load and put in your PIN as well, which is the same Google PIN and password or email and password that the district gave you. And so you'll come to this dashboard and you'll see some things. This is where you'll set up everything. And so this was just to get, how do I get into WebEx? How do I figure out how where everything is? To start a meeting, what you will do is just click right here to start a meeting, and you can actually start the meeting right now. As I'm talking to you right now, you'll see the meeting started. You could start the meeting. I'm going to not start this meeting because that's not a part of this portion, but what I'm going to do is close this out, and then I want to go back to where I was. And so we were at the start, we were at home, start a meeting. You can start a meeting, schedule a webinar. So these are just ways. Now, one of the cool things that I've done, I've actually copied this long URL right here, which it says oneoakland.webex.com/meet/zarek.lake. And what I've done is created a short URL. And so now what I can do is I created a bit.ly. I can type in bit.ly/lake meeting WebEx. And what it'll do is if I click enter, it'll take me right into WebEx to the actual meeting, and I can just start a meeting. I can give this URL to another person. I can put it in my calendar invite and just send this to them, and it will actually start the meeting from there. And this is actually cool because you can just give that short URL to the person you want to invite. Just a little trick that I use. All right, I'm going to close that again. And so we're back here again. So this is just one way to show you how to access WebEx and the features. And we're going to go over the features later. This is just a small tutorial to show you how to get in and to start playing around. So what I would ask you to do, and after this session, just to come around and play. And there's going to be some other tutorial videos. Just play around, look around, and play with some things, and try to start a meeting, stop a meeting, and go from there. All right. The next part is I'm going to show you a quick way that through Google Calendar to set up a meeting as well. So the first thing we looked at is how do we go to webex.com, log in, and get to the actual webex.com. It's kind of like a back office of how you start a meeting. Now what I'm about to show you is how you can go through Google Calendar and go to my Google Calendar. And I'm going to hit this plus button to create an event. Now I'm just going to call this a test for EDT 723. You can name it anything you want. I'm going to go to more options. And so now we're in how we regularly set up a calendar invite. And so I'm going to pick a date and I'm going to pick a time. And then I'm going to go and actually pick a format of video conferencing. So it already defaults to the Google Meet, but we don't want to use Google Meet. We want to actually use our personal room. And so we can go here, start a personal room, and it'll be here. And then we can continue with selecting the people we want to invite. And what we can do is I'm going to invite myself from another email. And we're going to set the time. And so all this information is actually here. And so we'll be able to set this meeting up like this. And it's already set. And we can click save. And it asks you, would you like to send invitation emails to Google Calendar guests? And it's going to send it to the person, everybody you've actually sent in that list. And you'll click send. They'll say they're outside the organization. You want to invite all guests. And then once you come to your calendar, it's on your calendar. Okay? So that's how the quick way to actually set up your calendar invite for a WebEx meeting. Now what I like to do is show you how to set up a meeting through just webex.com. So we're going to click, you don't want to start a meeting, you actually want to schedule a meeting. So we looked at how easy it is to schedule a meeting in your Google Calendar. Now we're going to see the difference in scheduling a meeting through webex.com. And so you click on schedule a meeting. Now, what type of meeting type? We're going to go with WebEx Meeting Pro Meeting. And then we're going to type in a title. You got to have a title. That's why this red asterisk is here. So we want to click test or whatever your title is, how long it's going to be. Don't worry if you go over this, it's not going to shut it off or it's not going to cut you off or anything. Now, what you could do is put a list of attendees here. And you have to actually separate them by a comma or semicolon. So I'm going to put myself once again. Another email I have. All right, so we have our people we want to invite. We could attach an agenda. This is a test. Don't have to worry about anything security-wise. If we look at security, well, for this part, if we do want to look up security, we can add a password. I like to put something really, really simple. So not this for this purposes, I'm going to show you. Don't put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but we're going to just put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as a placeholder for just a password. Actually, for the meeting password, we're going to put the name of my school. We're going to put MacArthur. All right, so that's the password. And then we exclude password. Well, we don't have to, we want to have a password so that they can put a password in. Now, if you want people to just come in and it'd be simple, you can click exclude password. You can do automatic lock my meeting within 15 minutes. I like this feature because sometimes when you're setting up an actual meeting, you may want it to lock because you may forget to lock the meeting, and others just can't join. So 15 minutes after, we're going to click this, and then join before host. We're not going to worry about that. Audio connections, I think these all should stay the same. And if there are any advanced things you want to set up as far as co-host, registration, so all these things are in here. Now, we can save this as a template, or we can just click start and it'll actually start my meeting. Now, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back here, and depending on what time we started, so I'm going to, we can have this set for a later date. So I'm going to click edit. Say if I wanted to set for tomorrow at the same time. So we have it for tomorrow. So what it does is going to say save instead of start meeting. So we're going to actually we're going to start it tomorrow, same time, and now we're going to click save. And what it'll do is it'll save for that time, and then you'll just start the meeting at this time. You can start it 15 minutes before the meeting, however. And so this is another way where you can set up your meeting through WebEx.com. Now, what are the advantages of setting it up through WebEx.com? As you can see, you have so many other features and things you have control over and change. Now, when we go to the Google Calendar, you just set it up just the way, just by putting in your personal room, people coming in, have a little less control. But there are other preferences that you can go to set up your preferences before, so you don't have to always go through webex.com. So that was two things we've already looked at. We've looked at how to access through webex.com, how to access through Google, and how to schedule that meeting. All right, we're going to look at 3 wonderful features of WebEx, and that these are going to be very important. So this is part 3 of our video. So the first thing we're going to take, first we got to figure out how to start our meeting. So once again, we're going to go to webex.com. We're going to just start a meeting. This is in my personal room. This is that link I talked about that you can give to people. And I'm just going to start this meeting. We are in the meeting right now. And so others can join if they would like to. And so if they did, just a couple of things I want to bring up. There are some security features. One we already talked about was signing a password. So only those can get in who have the password. That's one level of security. Another level of security is actually going up at the top, going to meeting and actually locking your meeting. And you know that your meeting is locked when this key right here is actually loaded, or is up in the top corner. So you know your meeting is locked. All right, so usually when someone is actually coming in, this participation will turn orange, and it'll show you if they can come in or not. And so that's a way of, and then you'll be able to let them in or not let them in. It's a great way to really have security. And so those are 2 great ways. So one, provide a password. The other way is to make sure your room is locked so people cannot just come in and just be a part of your WebEx. Next, we're going to look at, we talked about security. Next, we're going to look at some main features of WebEx and just look and see what are some of the main features of WebEx. So one, we have this great way of sharing content, and so when we share content, we actually can press this share button, and we can share my entire screen. I can share WebEx, I can share music, I can share a Microsoft Word document, a PowerPoint, a Chrome tab, or just preview of pictures. Now, if I have an iPhone or iPad set up, I could share that as well. We also have, we can share files, we can share a whiteboard, camera. So there are a plethora of things that we can actually share. One thing that I usually tell people so that they're not getting caught up with the information being shared or forgetting which tab to share. If you're going to share music, you must click this button right here, share computer audio. This shares the best quality audio for the others to listen to. You know how some people, it sounds like the audio is in a tunnel or something? This is why. You want to make sure you click this button and you're sharing the computer's audio. Once again, you want to share your entire screen, and so you want to click the share button. So once that happens, you are now presenting, and you have various things up here you can do. Even though you're not in that other side, you still can do breakout sessions, look at your participants, who's available, various apps. And then, I mean, they're just, you can do your polling notes, you can do a Q&A. So various things you still can access even while you're sharing. And so these are some great features that some other video conferencing programs do not have. And so what I would suggest, play around with it and, just have a good time. Just kind of playing around. Maybe you want to get your buddy on, or your assistant principal if you have one, or if you want to get another principal from another school to just kind of do some video conferencing tutorials with each other. So I'm going to stop sharing and then come back to this main screen. And so that's how we're actually looking at some of those features, important features. So we talked about security, we talked about some of the main features, and now we're going to end with our breakout sessions. Now, this was one of the best things I think WebEx could have done, is provide breakout sessions. So mostly all video conferencing has the breakout sessions now, but for WebEx, what you actually have to do is you have to enable the breakout sessions. And so once you do, they want you to how many number of people. So if you have 25 people, you want 5 people in a group. You want 5 groups, 5 people. So you'll have 5 breakout sessions, and you will press create the assignments. Now, it's only me in here right now, but as you can see, if there were 25 people in here, I would be able to drag and drop and assign manually, or they can do the breakout sessions could do it randomly and just put all the people in here. I can use these buttons to rename the groups, reassign people, place. I could do, I can let anyone join. I can delete the group, just various things. So if you're doing a staff meeting and you want grade levels to get together, well, you'll put all the first grade teachers in a group, or your K1 teachers in a group, or your 2-3 teachers in a group, your 4-5. And if you're in a K8 building, maybe you want to have your middle school teachers in one group, elementary in another group. So you're able to actually do this with these breakout sessions. Now, the cool thing is you'll also be able to visit the breakout sessions. So I'm going to see if I start the breakout sessions, what they'll have. So I'm starting a breakout sessions. And so right now there won't be anybody in there. However, I'm going to go and join this first breakout session and see what it does. All right, so I'm in this breakout session and I'm the only person in here, but there would be a group in here. Now, while I'm in here, we're talking, conversing, or I'm just listening, dropping in. Hey, everybody, dropping in to see what's going on. I want to get out of this breakout session. Great conversation, everybody. Talk to you soon. You hit this little red button and you leave the session. And then once it's going to actually, what you can do is actually go back to, you can look up here to join another breakout session. You can go here to look at the breakout session assignments. And once again, you can go and join another group. So I'm going to join another group, different group. You guys are having a great conversation. I'll let you continue talking. Leave that group. And then go back up here and you can actually either join another group, or you can see the assignments of people, or join another group. Now you have a timer up here, and if you look at these settings, once again, you can actually set how long you want it to be, 30 minutes. Now there's a countdown. So when you end the session, there's going to be a 60-second countdown. So that gives teachers or other administrations a way of actually counting down their final thoughts. So depending on what type of concept or things they're talking about in the breakout sessions, you could set the seconds, or it could be 2 minutes, it could be a minute, it could be 30 seconds, 10 seconds, however you want to set that up and what's best for your staff. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to end all breakout sessions. And what it'll do, it'll count down 60 seconds. And then in 60 seconds, everybody will come back into the group. Well, listen, I know this was just a taste, just a brief overview of some things that are going on with WebEx. I look forward to doing more in-depth tutorials about WebEx and continue the conversation so that you can have great and meaningful conversations even through this virtual platform. It's one of the great ways we're collaborating, and when people are not feeling well, or just in the summer we've been at home and we're preparing for the school year, this is just a great way to collaborate, to have conversations, to have break-off conversations, come back as a whole group. It's just a great way to do it. So I'm just looking at it. We talked about several things. We looked at part 1, how to access Cisco WebEx through webex.com. Part 2, how do we schedule? We looked at through webex.com, and we looked at through Google Calendar. And then the last part, we looked at some important features of WebEx, some security features, some of the main features that they have. And we also kind of looked at our breakout sessions. So these 3 parts will get you started. I advise you over the next few days, get with somebody, look at this video again. It will be placed in our Google Classroom, and so that you can go back and see it, or we'll place it on Schoology. I know we have a principals page there, so you'll be able to get that information through our Schoology principal page as well. I appreciate your time. I appreciate all the efforts and the things that you've done so far. This is just going to be a great way so that we can collaborate, communicate more efficiently and more effectively. Have a great day, everybody.